This is Common Sense Radio. Straightforward and no excuses.
All right. Come on now.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Call me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
What I said was perfectly right and spot on accurate.
Boy's got a mouth like a cannon, always shooting it all.
Stop.
Got it.
Stop. I mean, you're way off script.
Got it in me. Gonna quit until it all comes out.
Hey, boy!
Get a long education.
Yeah, it's not cynical. It's common sense.
Pay attention to me when I'm talking to you.
I'm gonna rock the nation. Rock the nation.
Genuine, accountable, and raw. Here is Steve Gruber.
All right, and welcome to it. It is a Wednesday edition of the Steve Gruber Show. A lot of things on our minds. The apologies from Hillary Clinton, or whatever you want to call that. We'll share that with you in a moment here. The possible increase in gasoline taxes. People not too excited about that. That's for sure. But we've got to solve it some way, right? Well, let's put Bill on the line. He's on the Common Sense Hotline from Charlotte today. Bill, welcome to the program. What are your thoughts?
Hi, I was just talking about the gas tax here, saying that we got the worst states, worst roads in the country is Michigan, and I'm from Charlotte, and we voted in a gas tax, a millage about 2 years ago to fix the roads, and I tell you, we have the worst city in the state because the roads haven't been one pothole filled. They took our tax money and do nothing. It's actually an embarrassment. The roads are so bad in that city. If other states have a lower tax rate than us, and they have better roads, how's that possible?
Well, it does make you wonder, does it? So, do you trust the folks taking more tax money to fix the roads in Michigan?
I'm sorry, I'm having a real hard trouble hearing with my headset on.
What I'm asking you is, do you trust?
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to know if you trusted the folks going forward, and I don't know that answer. Can you trust folks going forward? When they want to take more and more money, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, I've got good news. Hillary Clinton is finally sorry, it seems. The question is, for what? I mean, Monday, she had nothing to apologize for because she said she did with her homebrew server what was allowed. Those comments came from an interview with the Associated Press on Labor Day. It seems, however, that the former First Lady's campaign, which is in free fall over the ongoing scandal and the campaign that cannot figure out the right message, has decided to go a different direction. In fact, I would say the Clinton machine is now in full-on panic. It has been for a while, but the chinks in the armor are really starting to show. Tuesday brought a complete 180-degree turn from Monday's comments, and Clinton gave ABC News her first apology for using a private email server while serving as Secretary of State, calling it a mistake. In fact, here she is.
I am confident by the end of this campaign, people will know they can trust me and that I will be on their side and will fight for them and their families. But I do think I could have and should have done a better job answering questions earlier. I really didn't perhaps appreciate the need to do that. What I had done was allowed. It was above board. But in retrospect, certainly, as I look back at it now, even though it was allowed, I should have used two accounts, one for personal, one for work-related emails. That was a mistake. I'm sorry about that. I take responsibility. And I'm trying to be as transparent as I possibly can.
Did you make a mistake?
I did. As I said, it was allowed, and there was no hiding it. It was totally above board. Everybody in the government I communicated with, and that was a lot of people, knew I was using a personal email. But I'm sorry that it has, raised all of these questions. I do take responsibility for having made what is clearly not the best decision.
Yeah, it is refreshing she is taking responsibility so many months after she defiantly told the world that her private server would remain private and further told anyone that would listen that there wasn't anything important there besides a bunch of stuff about her daughter Chelsea's wedding and apparently some super secret yoga moves she didn't want the world to know about. By the way, I'm here to reassure you that no one, not me, not even hardcore Democrats, bought that explanation. We now know, of course, that she, in fact, had top secret and other classified materials on her emails and her server. It is also clear she may have put the United States national security at risk by doing so. The bigger problem now, though, for her, and for the country, really, is when did Hillary Clinton have her server wiped of all those emails, of all that information? It's becoming ever more apparent that that may have occurred after a congressional committee demanded access to the private hardware in the ongoing Benghazi investigation. Now, if that turns out to be true, that Hillary Clinton ordered her server wiped after the inquiry from Congress, that will likely be the end of her aspirations to ever occupy the White House as the president, but we'll see. At the State Department's request, Clinton has turned over 55,000 pages of work-related emails, and the FBI has taken possession of that server, but that is only after months of her refusing to give it up until last month. The ongoing political storm has been underscored by Clinton's sinking poll numbers nationwide, as you've heard about. She has also fallen from the inevitable candidate to a maybe not, with long-shot candidates Bernie Sanders and Vice President Joe Biden catching up quickly. In fact, admitted socialist Bernie Sanders, the senator from Vermont, is now leading Clinton in back-to-back polls in New Hampshire. It's a big deal. That's where the nation's first primary will be held early next year. Biden, meantime, he is meeting with influential members of the Democratic Party and seems ever more likely to jump in before the first DNC debate that is coming next month in October. Clinton, however, a veteran of Washington scandals, seems to take much of it in stride. She also said, as you might guess, I've been around a while, lots of attacks, questions raised. I can survive it because I'm running to be president. I'm running to be president. That doesn't sound entitled at all, does it? She says, I believe the American people will respond to that. I believe she's right. I believe the American people will respond. Republicans did. RNC National Press Secretary Allison Moore wrote this. The only thing Hillary Clinton regrets is that she got caught and is dropping in the polls, not the fact her secret email server left classified information exposed to the Russians and Chinese. Hillary Clinton's reckless attempt to skirt government transparency laws put our national security at risk and shows she cannot be trusted in the White House. All part of this tailspin. I've been telling you for a very long time that Hillary Clinton is not going to become the Democratic nominee for president, now or ever. And it's really beginning to look like I have been right for a very long time about that. If you don't trust me, you might trust Quinnipiac. The Quinnipiac University poll shows that 61% of Americans now do not consider Clinton honest and trustworthy. Really? I find that hard to believe. And I could have told you that a very long time ago as well. Oh, wait, hold on. I did tell you that time and again, over and over again. Yeah, she's boys and girls, Hillary Clinton is not going to make it. I can just, I can assure you, her campaign is in deep, deep trouble. It's the Steve Gruber Show, brought to you in part by Mesa. Good health, good business, and great schools. It's Wednesday. Thanks for dialing it in. We'll be right back.
Michigan, born and raised with Midwestern values and Michigan common sense.
Hey, blue on black, tears on a river, push on a shove, it don't mean much. Joker on Jack.
It's 18 after on this Wednesday. You can always join the conversation, 888-900-9966, the Common Sense Hotline. We encourage your participation. We're talking about so many things here that affect you directly that it's important for us to hear what you have to say, what you think, what you notice going on out there. Our next guest, State Senator Rick Jones, Republican from Grand Ledge, good friend of ours, hasn't been here for a while. Senator, welcome back to the program.
Good morning.
Well, let's get some updates, shall we? You've always got a lot going on. First of all, did you have a good weekend for the holiday?
I had a pretty good weekend. I'm still healing up from spine surgery, so I did a staycation and stayed around the house, but enjoyed the time with my lovely bride.
And you're feeling pretty good, though, since that surgery?
A lot better than what I was before. I had a little pinch sciatic nerve, and happy to get it fixed.
There you go. All right. Well, we're hoping a speedy recovery on all fronts. Meanwhile, let's touch base on some things that you've talked about here on the program before. Let's start, and we'll go through a laundry list here. We'll start with powdered alcohol, whatever they call it. I can't say it this morning. Anyhow, powdered alcohol, a dangerous thing out there. People say it's important for backpacking and so forth. You think it's just a bad idea?
Well, the first thing everybody has to realize is alcohol is a poison, and every year we lose a lot of people from alcohol poisoning. And what's a real tragedy is it's not old-timer alcoholics. It's a lot of young kids on campuses. And, in fact, at MSU, we lost a girl this year. Well, powdered alcohol will just make it easier to get this poison into your system. When they first came out with it, they said, you can put it on your pizza, you can put it on your salad. Think of all the ways you can get drunk. We think it's a really bad idea, and we're simply going to ban it in Michigan, just like about 40 other states. And that's up for a vote today in the House Reg Reform Committee.
Alcohol. So you're just going to try to snuff it out before it even gets a chance to get established, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another product we simply don't need. We have plenty of ways to consume alcohol right now.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we're going to take a look at that, and we'll see where that goes. And while we're down the alley of drugs and alcohol, medical marijuana, the surge for marijuana legalization is often running here. Where do you think we are with this medical marijuana? This is an evolving thing over the last few years, certainly in Michigan and across this country, most notably Colorado. People's attitudes about marijuana seem to be changing, evolving quickly to a point of acceptance. What do you make of it?
Right. I don't support the legalization in putting another social drug out there for people to smoke and have more car crashes like they're having in Colorado right now. But, it'll probably be on the ballot. There's a couple different groups going to do it. They're working on it, and I would imagine it will be on there. It'll be up to the vote of the people. But it's my job to work on the current law as chair of judiciary, and right now the House is trying to fix the medical marijuana law. It's a real mess. Give you a quick example. Say you're in the last stages of your life, and a doctor says, you've got 6 months, so we're going to let you use this. We think it'll help ease some of your problems. And so you contact a caregiver, and then the caregiver can go plant 12 plants, and maybe in 6 months you'll harvest them and have it ready for you, but by then you'll probably be dead. So the House is looking at a whole package of bills to allow dispensaries to come back, but we don't want to see the 49 dispensaries come back to Lansing. We want to see responsible places, and we want to see the product tested. No bug spray, no mold, no stuff.
Quality control.
Medicine, if it's going to be medicine.
Quality control.
Absolutely, and it would be controlled like some of the other states have done it. It would be issued just like a prescription. It would have your name and number on it, and it's your product, and it better not be in somebody else's pocket because it's not something you can trade. Just like you can't trade your oxycodone or Norco or any of the other products out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we'll keep an eye on that as well. Again, it's changing so fast, the conversation about marijuana and its medical applications, what there are, and basically it's an argument over recreational use primarily. Let's not kid ourselves. And then you're working on a trucking bill. Last thing here, Senators, we kind of go through a quick list here. You're working on a trucking bill you say will create a few hundred jobs. What is it?
I had a company come to me from Shiawassee. They said Michigan is the only state where we're getting tickets. We have an archaic law. We're a truck hauler. Now, this is a semi-truck with a lowboy that's piggyback stacking medium-sized trucks, hauling them all over the nation. They said, why is it Michigan is the only state we're getting tickets in? We want to build a multi-million-dollar trucking center. We want to hire 300 truckers. By the way, their top truckers make $115,000, and they have benefits. They said, we want to hire 300, but if you don't fix this law, we're going to build it in Ohio. And I said, you give me 4 or 5 months, by God, we're going to fix it. Well, that bill is up for a vote in the Senate today, and I would expect it to be unanimous.
So we're gonna get those jobs, and you're not gonna let Ohio have our jobs, Senator? Way to stand up. I appreciate that.
Well, and some of these jobs nowadays, you can get with some training or a couple of years of community college, and you could make a lot more money than you can with a university degree.
No, there's no question. You don't. As we have learned time and again, we discuss here on a regular basis. It's there's not one path to success. There are multiple paths to success. You just have to find one that works for you.
Absolutely, whatever your son and daughter want to do, encourage them to get that training and get that job.
But there is no substitute for hard work. On that we can agree, Senator.
Absolutely. It's all in your motivation. If you have the motivation to succeed in this country, you can.
Absolutely. State Senator Rick Jones, always a pleasure, my friend.
Have a great day.
There you have it. Senator Rick Jones kind of doing some tidying up around the office, covering a few different things, and cleaning up right here on the Steve Gruber Show.
Covering Michigan and the world from his bunker below the bridge. Here is Steve Gruber.
Get up off of that thing and dance to you better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you.
33 after the hour.
Get up off of that thing.
What's more American than football? And James Brown, right? I wrote a column a while ago, 50 things that won't be here in 50 years. One of those things was football. I wonder, because of the mass migration to soccer and other sports, primarily soccer, whether or not American football will survive. College football, the greatest game ever invented, also could be going down a road to change. Certainly some big changes coming with the NFL season just a handful of days away now. For 2015, some big changes are on the way. Ranzel Kendrick, author of The Future of Football, a former star athlete and coach, joining us on the line. Ranzel, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, let's talk about some of the things that, we'll get to some of the easiest stuff here. First of all, and I'm a former kicker, so this hurts me a little bit, but the extra point is not going to be a gimme at like 17, 18, 19 yards anymore. The extra point, at least for this year, has been moved back. It's a 33-yard kick, which, let's be honest, in Denver or, New England and other places in December, that's no gimme.
I kind of like the 2-point conversion, so it doesn't bother me too bad. And a good kicker can probably make it, I assume you could.
Well, I'm old and I could still kick that under the right conditions. Of course, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, long snap, the hold, all that stuff, but it will make it more exciting. Do you think that making the PAT, the extra point, 33 yards back, do you think that will encourage teams to go for the 2 points more often, or will they still kick? What do you think is going to happen?
It's going to have to on occasion. There's going to be a lot of times where they just don't want to. They still want to have the same mindset of just notch the one and let's go. But, there's going to be plenty of times where it's going to tempt them.
All right, so you've got that going on. Also, the way that, and this is no surprise, and everybody knows that Tom Brady will be playing in the opener against Pittsburgh because he won his court fight in Deflategate. But the way footballs are handled going forward is going to change. What's going on there?
That's kind of, it sounds a little convoluted when you slow down and read everything they do and how many times they go through. They put procedure to everything about it now. So, it comes out at a certain time, sits there for a little while, then they take it out to the teams. After the teams first bring it into them. It's a whole lot to do about nothing, but it's pretty critical now that we realize that Tom Brady did what he did. And I wouldn't say he necessarily won his court case, Steve, because there's a whole other thing there that hasn't really been investigated, and that's Fumblegate, where his team has somehow managed to lead the team in least fumbles for the same 8 years that he had right to display his balls, his game balls. And that's so unusual, and so it's pretty much impossible, according to the odds, to do that for 8 years.
To lead the league in least fumbles, least turnovers.
The least fumbles.
Right, the least. Well, that's pretty key. And if you have, so what do you think is going to happen there?
Turnovers wins normally.
Yeah.
So they haven't investigated that, even though on the first page of the Wells report, the NFL says it's their duty to investigate both actual and suspected violations, and they'll do it promptly and thoroughly. Well, they only investigated the actual violation and didn't do anything about the suspected violations.
We're on the line this morning with Ranzel Kendrick, author of The Future of Football. So let me ask you, Ranzel, what is the future of football here in America?
To me, I think it's potentially about to get really exciting. There's only one role in the game right now that I see that has a whole lot of opportunity to be changing, and that's the backfield, the quarterback and what goes on there. I happened to play as a kid in a backfield with two quarterbacks in the game at the same time, which really changes things, and more people handling the ball than just one prima donna. So I think what we're going to see is the continuation of the running quarterback challenging for the position at the helm, taking it away from the drop-back passer, and different versions that morph in between those two. I think the backfield of the future is going to get really exciting.
You don't seem to like quarterbacks much.
I played running quarterback, and I always had a problem with the prima donna quarterback because I wasn't one of them. I'd put my head down and, go for it. And I was as good of a runner as I was a passer, so it was a lot of fun. I know how much fun that really is, and that's what I like to watch. So maybe I'm a little biased.
Well, that's okay. Everybody has their take on this game. That's the one great thing about football. Everybody has an opinion about just about everything. Just about everything that goes on, somebody has an opinion on, whether it's teams or strategy or this person or this play call. That's the great thing about it. It's always a conversation. You can second guess everything.
But it is happening. The last 3 Super Bowls featured a running quarterback.
No question. All right, so let me ask you about this. The other thing that's gotten a lot of attention here, Ranzel, over the past several years, and it's certainly not going away, and that's the attention to injuries on the field, primarily to concussions and all the conversations surrounding concussions. But it seems that the game, while it continues to get faster because athletes continue to get bigger and faster, in my estimation, it still seems the game is getting safer to me. Am I wrong?
You're saying that it is getting safer?
It seems to be. I mean, I mean, they keep changing the technology and helmets and so forth, and so they're trying to limit the number of concussions. Am I wrong about that?
Well, it possibly could be getting a little safer because they're trying to do things now. There are more things that need to be done. It's not safe enough. We just lost a 16-year-old kid in Louisiana 3 or 4 days ago. I haven't heard exactly what he died of, but he died on the field playing football. I know when I was young, I was trying to kill the other guy half the time because that's kind of the way I was taught. And I just heard something really interesting I never knew, because when you think about rugby, you think about a sport that's just brutally rough. But I heard that they have rules to take down somebody when you're tackling them in kind of a non-aggressive, manner, so you don't add anything into it at that point. You just wrap them up and take them down. So I've got to look into that one. But there are things that are done in other sports already. The penalty box in hockey, different things that other sports have done. So I encourage in my book that the NFL should, look at what others have already done, see if they can incorporate things like that to help deal with this aggression. Maybe something like a penalty box where a guy could go out of the game and still come back in. And like in soccer, they have the yellow card. So if you get a yellow card, that's like a major warning. You get another one, which equals a red card, which you're out of the game. They can pull a red card on you and you're out of the game. But just some ideas where they start to deal with the aggression. When a player starts getting overamped up, sometimes maybe he needs a timeout, One way to address it, but other ways too, like you said, equipment. And then, of course, is there anything between full-fledged tackle football and flag football? Where do we go there? Where can we start trying to go there and figure out ways to make a tackle a little bit safer?
See, now you're going the wrong way. I believe if you made golf a full contact sport, it would be interesting. See, if you make it less contact, to me it gets a little dull. But Ranzel, that's just me. Hey, appreciate it. Who's your team for the NFL championship this year, real quick?
I don't know that I've chosen one yet. I like the innovative teams. Whoever's going to innovate the most, I'm going to be watching the most.
All right, Ranzel Kendrick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Author of The Future of Football. I don't think we should reduce hitting. I mean, and then it's just, then it's soccer. We've already got that. 41 after the hour.
Delivering Michigan common sense with a big dose of truth and honesty.
Rappers standing on the corner. Rappers flying in the wind.
All right, welcome to it. It's 45 after the hour.
Waitress up from
If you combine Donald Trump, Ben Carson, and Carly Fiorina now, they're collecting something like 60% of the vote. The outsiders are, as opposed to the more traditional politicians. What does that mean? Well, let's find out what Romney McDaniel thinks, the chairman of the Michigan Republican Party. Ronna, welcome back to the program.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, what do you make of, we'll start with this, Trump, Carson, and Fiorina. They are certainly getting a lot of attention. All three seem to be going up in the polls, while more traditional candidates like Scott Walker and Jeb Bush seem to be losing support. What do you make of it?
Well, I think they're new to the field as well. They're people that a lot of Americans haven't had a lot of exposure to, and of course, the depth of our field is outstanding. So as they learn about these new candidates, there is an excitement about them, and I expect we'll see a lot of them rise and fall in the polls, and then it'll even out, and it'll be a real contest of ideas, and that debate will happen, and we'll see who wins come maybe mid-March of next year.
Yeah, Donald Trump has been quiet for a few days. He may have taken a couple of days off. What do you think of Donald Trump? A lot of Republicans say that they would, 26% that I saw in a poll, so they would never vote for Trump under any circumstance. I don't know if that's true or not, but there are certainly some entrenched feelings when it comes to Donald Trump, even though he is leading nationally and in most of the key early states like Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina.
Well, as you talk to people around the state, they either love him or they don't like him. There's not a lot of middle ground with him, certainly. And he's reaching a different base. I see people from all different spectrums in our party who are supporting him. He is tapping into an anti-government feeling, but he's also bringing new people to our party. And again, it's all part of this debate and this long, long process. I welcome every candidate. I'm excited to have them there. Our field is fantastic. 24 million people watched that first debate. I'm excited to see what happens on September 16th.
Yeah, that's 24 million was like unheard of. So, let's not kid ourselves. Donald Trump is good for ratings, but as a result, people get to see a host of good candidates, like you said. So coming up next week, the Mackinac Republican Conference will be taking place on Mackinac Island. Tell our listeners what's going on there and what we can expect.
Well, we're holding a conference on Mackinac. It's a leadership conference. The title is Foundation for the Future, Michigan Foundation for the Future. And we really want to highlight Michigan and what we've done to turn our state around. The leadership in our state has done to take our unemployment from 14% to 5.3%. Jobs are coming back, 400,000 jobs. 1,900 regulations have been cut under our watch as Republicans in the state. And we want to talk about that type of leadership and what it would mean for the country and across the nation. And the keynote speakers we have at this event will be Jeb Bush, Governor Scott Walker, Senator Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina, Governor John Kasich, and Senator Rand Paul. And they're going to talk about their ideas for the future as well.
So that's a pretty good list that you've got so far. That's six of the folks that are in the current top 10, Fiorina, Bush, Walker, Cruz, Kasich, and Paul, are all in the top 10 currently as far as polling numbers go. What about Donald Trump? What about Ben Carson, a Michigan native himself, not on the list there? Are you still reaching out to some of the other Republicans?
We reached out to every campaign. As they announced, we sent a letter to them immediately. I have gone to all of their events and tried to personally invite them. I did in the case of Ben Carson and Donald Trump. The issue is Iowa's having an event that same weekend, as is South Carolina. They get so greedy, those early states, and they're having events that weekend, and we're competing with those events, and some have already committed to those. and unfortunately won't be making it to Mackinac.
You mentioned if they get a little greedy with the early events. We're on the line, by the way, with Romney McDaniel, the chairman of the Michigan Republican Party. Been in that position not too long, and greedy. But here's the good news, I guess, and you tell me how this is working out for Michigan. On March the 8th is our primary, I believe, and that's much earlier than it's been in the past, and it makes Michigan a place where we do see the candidates. We get a chance to see the candidates because we're not like, well, Michigan's late. It doesn't really matter. We actually get to see all of the candidates. I think it's great for the voters. I think it's great for Michigan to have a chance to see all of these candidates up close and personal, some in smaller settings, some in larger settings. But I think that's good for us.
It's wonderful. We've had 10 candidates here in the past 6 months, many of them multiple times. Michigan is definitely in play. Our March 8th primary is the precursor to the March 15th primaries, where it goes to winner take all, and there's 3 Midwestern states after us. So we could be a great jumping off point for a lot of these campaigns. I like to see them in Michigan. I agree with you. These smaller venues, you really get a chance to spend time with these candidates. I saw it with Mitt. I would tell my friends, come see him now, because if he gets the nomination, you'll never have an opportunity to be this close and spend this much time with a candidate one-on-one. And I saw his crowds grow, and it became more and more difficult. Those same friends called me later and said, "Could you get me in to go meet with him?" And I'd say, "No, I can't now."
No,
so go to the early events. Spend the time.
And it's a good point you make. Getting a picture with the president of the United States can cost $25, $50, $100,000. It's a fact. That's to be true at fundraisers and so forth. This is your chance to get your picture taken with the president of the United States for free. You just don't know which one it's going to be yet.
Exactly. Go get 10 of them have been here. I'm sure we're going to have many more. And it is wonderful. They take questions. Our candidates have been here and been very accessible. They're doing grassroots events. They're spending time with voters, getting to know our state. That's going to be good for us in the general. The Democrats, on the other hand, have not had candidates here at this level. Hillary Clinton came in only for a fundraiser. She raised $500,000, and then she was out of the state. I'm curious to see how many times she's going to be in Michigan.
Well, so am I. Well, Ronna, I will see you up there in Mackinac, because we're taking the show on the road to Mackinac. We'll be there a week from Friday for the Mackinac Republican Party conference up there, the leadership conference. And I look forward to seeing you there, Ronna. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Good to see you.
Romney McDaniel here on the Steve Gruber Show. Some final thoughts after this.